Hello there. This is for the Vampirefreaks Video Contest, titled One of the Freaks. Sebastian I was called when I was a man, but now in the darkness I've taken a new clan. A world that I thought was only fantasy, now I see was doubtless true ecstasy. I bet on my scholars, coins worth a fortune, and said I could last alone. For some months I waited in a cabin, for they promised me a golden throne. Ghosts and goblins, witches and ghouls, such things did I never believe in, unlike fools. But now do I see the truth in this darkness. I had just barely saved myself from becoming a carcass. The first night was fine, the second night better. The third and the fourth is when my evenings were wetter. The groans and the cries that echoed in the woods were followed by dark silhouettes and raised hoods. On the fifth night did I see 3 witches with a pot. Something in there bubbled and boiled very hot. Upon closer inspection I saw their green stew, with fingers of humans and thick clumps of goo. 10 nights passed then, and I heard a loud moan of a man or an animal in pain. I didn't know. Then I saw a young lad alone in the forest. He scratched and he growled with his body much like a dirty florist. He howled at the night and he wrenched his back. Then I saw him become a monster and attack. I ran for the cabin and was cut on my shoulder. My bottle of whiskey I did smash, and it did moulder. 12 nights swept on by, and I saw a faint light. A fairy of the forest did capture my sight. I followed the vixen to a pond clean and pure. When upon my stumble she vanished to end my tour. 10 nights from then on I heard a rapping down below. Inside a coffin a pale girl made her show. She thanked me with song and a night filled with passion. To this day, thoughts of my wife I do ration. 6 nights on then my cabin did shake and stirred. The bottles and the knickknacks fell down, my senses were blurred. A spectre of the night, dressed in a veil pure as white, did enter my cabin, and my mind sunk to fright. When next I did wake, it was my scholars all around. They told me their lies, the tricks they have found. A small trickle of powder into my rum they did put. Their trick was so that I could see things and take to foot. My money they had hoped to win on my hastened return, but I had almost won, so my body they planned to burn. When last I lost hope and fell to the greed of man, the woods I had learned returned, and then said, the witches, the goblins, the ghosts, and the ghouls came all around and ripped those men up like fools. He saved me from death and even gave me some gin. The vampire I rescued sunk her fangs into my skin. They took me from the cabin into the dark of the woods, to a hovel they called the home of freaks and goods. They gave me a guitar and asked me if I could play, to which I strummed the strings, and did say, the vampire was my mistress and the fairy such a whore. But now that I am one of them, I'm their champion, I swore. The werewolf may be monstrous, but only in the moon. The goblins they all sang and danced, but they look like tiny loons. Sebastian was once my name, but now I'm dubbed a freak. A human among monsters now, boy, am I unique. But already I can feel the change coming to my skin. When next I run into the night, only victory will I win. The freaks around me, I do call them my only kin. I never thought I would end up here. Boy, isn't that a spin?